Introducing Big Dog of the Week. It's an underdog that we just think has a real shot. And we're trying to find like real underdogs, like touchdown without the extra point. So like a touchdown or more. So this week, division battle. Want to talk about this game anyways. We got Bears at Lions. Lions are 6-point favorites as we record this show. It is another morning, early afternoon game played at Ford Field in Detroit. So how we're going to do this segment is, how does the underdog straight up win? How do they not only cover, but they win the game outright? So that is the Bears in this case on the road. Ben Johnson returning back to Detroit, who Lions fans seem to hate him now because he had the gall to take a head coaching job. But what do you think? What do you think, Charles, has to happen? What are the keys for the Bears to pull out this victory?
Like that first quarter that they played against Minnesota was pretty good. Like if you could just do that like three times, you should get out of here with a dub. But man, I really do think people are acting crazy about this Caleb Williams game one stuff. As if he just like sucks. Like we watched him complete the first 10 passes of the game, some of the craziest passes that you saw all week one. He did multiple times in his first 10 plays. And like by the end of the game, everyone's like, "Oh, he can't play anymore." I was like, "What the hell happened here?" Like, obviously, it wasn't his best performance. No. And he would tell you that. But it's not like he was making a bunch of like terrible reads and like putting the ball in harm's way. He just missed some throws. He missed some throws. You know he can hit. And I would bank on him starting to hit more
against
of those
top 5 defense.
Right. And honestly, when you see a game like that, it's just like almost like the law of averages. When you see a game like that where he starts off 10 for 10, and then as the game goes on, he misses like every single throw that he's trying to make. Well, it's going to be somewhere in between for the most of this, you know, and that's still pretty good, because even if you go back like on one of the first throws he had, where he's like rolling out to his right and just fires like 100 miles per hour, like against the grain of his body, and it ends up perfectly. I was like, that's why you keep betting on it, because there's so few people on the planet that can do stuff like that. And I think he's going to be totally fine. And even this week against Detroit, there's still opportunity for him to have a good game. It's not like the Lions played their best defense, certainly last week against a Green Bay team that was really, revving, ready to go. So, yeah, I guess what you would need if you're the Bears to win this game is for Caleb Williams to have a strong performance, which is something I think he's perfectly capable of. So, not concerned about the Bears offense. It's a long season, guys. It's week one. It's a week one, right? So nothing that you saw last week should be weighing like too heavily on your mind, because if we cut that game at halftime, you would say, holy crap, Vikings made a horrible mistake picking J.J. McCarthy, and Caleb Williams might be a top 5 quarterback in football. But you played the second half, and now J.J. McCarthy is NFC offensive. Yeah. Right. He's NFC offensive player of the week, which is still a little silly, but goes to show like you gotta let this stuff play out. I think the Bears have a real shot to win this week. I thought the defense played pretty well last week, all things considered, until the end of the game. And against the Lions offense that looked just discombobulated last week, there's really a chance that they could be on upset watch and lose this game against Chicago, I think.
Yeah, I rewatched it, and that was hard sometimes. It's like I trying to watch the entire game and watch it all back on film and be fair and actually like pay attention, take my notes and everything. And so finally watched back the whole game. And it was one of those, if you just ignored any noise, didn't watch that game live, and you just watched the tape, you're like, oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, he missed a couple throws, but actually really Caleb made really right decision on every play. There's two that off the top of my head where he turned down an underneath route and then he went to scramble. That's okay. Every quarterback does that. Every top 5 quarterback does that. It happens. It comes up. So I'm not going to kill him all the way. He misses the late throw to DJ Moore. Ryan Fitzpatrick thinks that was supposed to be a corner route. I get why he said that, because it was the other side of the concept was a high-low, just like that side. And maybe DJ Moore just, I don't know. It was funky. I'm not trying to just give excuses, just trying to explain this out. But I watched it back and I was like, man, I thought he made great decisions. He was getting to checkdowns. His scrambling, there's a little bit of a narrative disconnect with his play extending. I'm sorry, is that like what I think where people see him run around, they're like, oh, there he goes, turning down throws, running around again, and then you watch back on film, it's like he's running because there's a guy running right at him. Someone broke free, like Drew Dahlman missed a block or Jonah Jackson missed a block, and they're running right at him, and he made I tweeted this. 75% of the quarterbacks in the league, that would have been 5 or more sacks, and he took 2, and one of them was a Hargrave insta win and just gets him, and he made 3 of those miss off the top of my head. I would even say 4, and then another one was his toes were out of bounds when he broke contain again, and then he looked to throw, and then his toes were out of bounds. So it wasn't a true sack with him getting hit. So 1 sack on that many pressures, that's improvement. This is the guy that got sacked a ton last year. So I thought that was a great improvement. I thought he had some downfield throws that were great. He had a deep dig to DJ Moore. And I don't think people realized it was a dig because DJ Moore gets collided. It was kind of a cover 2 variation, but I'm still trying to figure out exactly what it was. It was cover 6 at least, I think. But cover 2 anyways. Cover 2, deep half safety, corner in the flat. The corner is designed, the corner is, his rules are he's going to collide the outside corner or outside receiver, make him go outside, receiver release outside. DJ Moore takes this long winding path. So Caleb has to hitch a couple times. What's really cool though, is Caleb was shortcutting the read. He got to the proper read, which is the deep dig against cover 2. But DJ Moore took so long, it looks like he's hitching a couple extra times because he's just waiting for him to get there. And he throws it, DJ Moore turns and it hits him. So it doesn't even look like a dig, it almost looks like a deep curl. And I was like, that's great. That's advanced. I mean, reading a Brian Flores defense like that where you're shortcutting, I was like, that's really good. And it's just one of those subtle things that you have to rewatch. I thought he was in control. Actually not really. They're trying to really work the cadence. That's why they had all those false starts. They were really trying to change it up. They got Hargrave once later, but that's why all those false starts were happening. But I don't know. I came away from it way more positive overall of all of it. Again, he had a couple misses, but man, he had a lot of great plays and sack avoidance. And I just did not think he made any mental mistakes truly. Like he missed a couple where he just passed over a guy. But as far as putting the ball in harm's way, I don't think he ever did that all night. So yeah, that's why you got to watch the film. But no, I think also we just focus a lot on the Bears. DeAndre Swift, they need to find somebody else to run the ball. Dahlman's got to earn his money. Jonah Jackson's got to earn their money. They're kind of up and down. They'll get better as the season goes along. But and I thought they did some cool things with the tight ends. They got them vertical, Loveland and Kmet. They're doing some cool vertical things. So it was I'm a lot more optimistic about what I saw than how my first feelings were after Monday night. But no, the Lions though, I was curious about your thoughts with them. Anything on rewatch this Lions? Let's start with the Lions defense because I thought they had some botches, and that's a little scary to me in week 1 with a defense that's returning a decent amount of guys. So I was curious what you thought about them.
I think that's kind of like the tale for both sides of the ball. Probably a little bit more alarming for the Lions defense, because at least with the Lions offense, you can say, oh, we're replacing starters on the offensive line. A bunch of young guys are playing. So yeah, like when there's a twist or something, maybe we don't pick that up. But defense, like a lot of these guys are returning. You promoted the linebackers coach, Kelvin Shepard, to DC. So like theoretically, a lot of this should be the same, but they obviously were, they were way out of sorts, I think, week 1. And maybe it's just, hey, it's week 1 and we played a really good offense that had a lot of continuity, but it also should be a pretty talented defense that had a lot of continuity, and they just didn't have the game I think that they were looking for coming out of it. Now, I guess I kind of get stuck on like how much of that is just like the Packers offense being awesome versus how much of it is the Lions defense not being great. And we'll probably get a more clear answer on that this week. But also, like if you're the Bears offense and you're watching film of that Lions Packers game week 1, you should probably still be looking at like, hey, there's room for us to kind of maybe get them out of sorts and get chunks of plays at a time. If we can block and not have Caleb like running some of these scramble drills, there's room for them, I think, for them to have a pretty strong game this week. So I'm still tentatively excited about this Bears offense, even with how they ended that game last week or on Monday.
Yeah, the Lions, it's just both sides of the ball. It's just like, I know it's new coordinators, but that was the whole point, was that, like you said, Shepard gets promoted, and then John Morton on offense is supposed to be part of the system, part of this tree. So it should be a smoothish transition because we have so much personnel returning. Just didn't feel like that. I've kind of brought this up in a few shows, but including with Matt, where it was just like a lack of design thoughtfulness was really concerning on offense, where the first play of the entire season, you're running behind Sam Laporta at Lucas Van Ness. And like, you had all offseason, that's your first play, is an obvious mismatch. And I don't know. And all of a sudden, John Morton comes out today and he's saying, well, I got to take some more off my players' plates. And it's like, you're already saying that after week one in an offensive system, you guys are supposed to be returning, and that's what it's supposed to be. You guys, like, it's supposed to be ready made. Like, just call the plays, call the good plays. That's what you're supposed to be doing. I say that like jokingly, but it just felt like it was just a lack of flow. I mentioned that the stat that they had the lowest explosive rate since 2022. They had their second worst success rate in the run game of the Dan Campbell era. Their worst run game as far as success rate goes, which I think is a very important stat with the run game. It was their worst since week 16 in 2022. 22.7% was the third worst in the entire NFL. Do I think the Packers defense is good? Yeah, but the Lions are kind of one of those teams where it's like, well, it's like the Eagles. Well, you should be able to at least be pretty good on the ground every game, like where you're getting at least above 35%. So I know it's a new interior trio or a reworked interior trio, but the Bears got some dudes too. And so, yeah, I actually think the Bears match up decently against them. I'm very curious to see what kind of like, all right, the Lions they ran to that buzzsaw at Lambeau Field. Okay, how do you guys come back? How do you guys answer back? Because of course, both of these teams do need a win desperately, but I think this will be a fun game. I'm pretty excited about it. All right. I don't think we have to do a prediction. That's why we did underdog. Do you think the Bears can pull it off? I do. Do you?
I think they can. It's gonna be tough, but I think that they can.
Yeah. At Ford Field's tough, and Lions still have a lot of talent, and that's why I think their floor is still pretty high. It's just, all right. I'm gonna be focusing on that game very, very keenly when I watch film, and just sorry if I better not see any palms up from the Lions defense on the third play of the season on who has who in man coverage. Like, that is what's concerning. It's the easiest stuff they're botching, and that's and everybody's rushing straight. There's no twists in games. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just wait until I see, and they're going to probably blow the Bears out. But all right, we're going to wrap this up with another new segment. It's time for some Hail Marys. Way to go. Hail Marys. So originally it was picks, and we're going to just turn this into a bold prediction that we throw up a prayer on, and we just see how it lands. See if we come down with it, and then we're going to just talk about games. It could be games that we talked about before. We were 0-1 last week on the pre-named stuff before Hail Marys, but it's Hail Marys now, so we're starting fresh. You said no Sauce interception, or a Sauce interception. Sauce Gardner did not come up with one. I said Mahomes was not going to get sacked. He got sacked twice, but we move on. It's week 2. So Charles, what is your Hail Mary of week 2?
My Hail Mary of week 2 is I think the Jaguars will beat the Bengals this weekend. I thought the Bengals are a 2.5 point favorite. But I thought they looked terrible last week against Cleveland. It's like, Joe Flacco, I thought he played a better game than Joe Burrow did, honestly.
He had some great throws. I've been like going like, the Browns were like actually kind of fun to watch in a weird way on offense.
Which is really, I think, alarming if you're a fan of the Bengals, because just because they're fun to watch doesn't mean that it's suddenly a good offense. Now, I still think that's probably one of the worst offenses in the league. And Joe Flacco had, I think, a 47% success rate against that defense, which is, hey man, and he finished with positive EPA on the day, which is higher than what Joe Burrow had in both marks. I think Joe Burrow had around a 37% success rate against the Browns defense and finished with less than 100 net passing yards. That's a bad start if you're the Bengals fan. And they couldn't run the ball at all either. Like, the offensive line got punked in the run game all game long, and the defense was just about as soft as we thought it was going to be, but they were able to kind of eke out the win at the end there. So I think Jacksonville's a lot better team than Cleveland is, even with playing the pathetic Panthers last week, and Bryce Young, and the offense was awful. I still think they showed maybe a little bit more cohesiveness as a unit than they did last year. It's once Doug Peterson decided, I don't really feel like doing this anymore. So I think
time's early.
I think Jacksonville
I could get to.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville can actually beat Cincinnati. I think they just look like maybe a little bit of a better team, or I don't know if I'm overreacting to how awful the Bengals look week 1.
I don't think you're overreacting. I don't trust the defense at all. Like, I don't think that's going to, like, it's just like the Texans offensive line. They only can get so much better, even with good coaching and everything. No, I previewed the show with Mina, and she was like, what's your key to the game? I go, just competency from any of the 4 units. Jags O, Jags D, Bengals O, Bengals D. Just competency. That's the goal of this game. It's what I'm keeping my eye on. No, I like this one a lot. I'm really curious to see what the next step is with the Jags. How they use Travis Hunter is always interesting with them. See if Trevor Lawrence can actually have a B+ or better game, a consistent 4-quarter game. See if Burrow and them bounce back. Very, very fun game. Also, a game a couple of years ago that made the Jaguars season go in the tank. Remember when it was like they were like 8-2 or 8-3, and then they had a big lead against the Bengals and they lost it. I think I remember that right.
Yeah, because that was the Burrow missed that game. I think like Brandon Allen or
it was a Jake Browning game, right?
Jake Browning game. Yeah, he was in. They blew that game. Yeah,
I thought so. Memories. My Hail Mary for week 2. The Vikings will rush for over 150 yards and win against your Falcons, right? Against your Falcons. This is, right. Jordan Mason's over-under is currently at 60.5. And this is more a bet on that Vikings run games really, really was cooking in the second half. Looked good. Looked how I thought it was going to look. Donovan Jackson looks like a hit already. Ryan Kelly, I thought, had a nice game. But the left tackle, what's his name? Justin School. That is the worst offensive player, not even just offensive lineman, offensive player in the entire NFL. He's the guy that jump-started Aiden Hutchinson's defensive player of the year. He's not because he was playing right tackle. He's not. Christian Darrisaw's got to come back. But this team is going to be a team that runs the ball and uses J.J. McCarthy situational to throw the ball. Kevin O'Connell, since he's been the head coach, he's only cracked 150 yards 3 times as a team. Week 11, 2023, Week 8, 2022, and Week 10, 2024. Their record under O'Connell is 175 yards. I think they're going to have a nice day on the ground. I think the Falcons did play feisty last week. I give them the props. I thought they played a nice game on defense, but I think the Vikings are be feeling good and have a nice answer for them. So going with 150 yards and win. All right. That's the Hail Marys for week 2.